Have you ever noticed how some days feel unstoppable? You wake up energized, you get things done, you feel focused, confident, and in control. And then there are those other days you hit snooze 3 times, you grab your phone before you even sit up, one notification becomes 20, suddenly you're rushing, stressed, distracted, and behind before the day has even begun. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people think their life is decided by big moments, the promotion, the business launch, the breakthrough opportunity. But what if your future is actually decided long before any of those things happen? What if the battle is already won or lost before 8 a.m.? Think about that. Before the world starts demanding your attention, before the emails arrive, before the problems appear, there is a small window of time that belongs entirely to you. And how you use that window determines how you show up for everything that follows. Most people think discipline is something you either have or don't have. They treat it like a personality trait, but discipline is actually built through repeated choices. And nowhere are those choices more important than in the morning. The first hour after you wake up is not just a block of time on a clock. It is a mirror that reflects who you believe yourself to be. Every action in that hour sends a message to your mind about your identity. When the alarm rings, you face a decision that seems small, but carries enormous psychological weight. You can keep the promise you made to yourself the night before, or you can break it. If you said you would wake up at 6, exercise, read, or work on your goals, and then you follow through, your brain records that evidence. It learns that your words mean something. Over time, that creates self-trust. You begin to see yourself as someone who can be relied upon. That internal reputation matters more than any external reputation because it affects every future decision you make. Consider 2 people with the same goal. Both want to become healthier, more successful, and more focused. The first person wakes up and immediately negotiates with themselves. Just 5 more minutes. 5 becomes 15. Then they rush through the morning, skip their workout, and tell themselves they'll do better tomorrow. The second person also feels tired. They also want to stay in bed. But they get up anyway. The difference is not that one person feels motivated and the other doesn't. The difference is that one person acts in alignment with the identity they want to build. Identity is formed through repeated evidence. Every morning you either strengthen the identity of a disciplined person or strengthen the identity of someone who delays, avoids, and negotiates with commitments. This is why small morning habits matter so much. Making the bed, drinking water, stretching, writing a plan for the day, or reading for 10 minutes may seem insignificant individually, but collectively they become proof. They tell your brain, I am a person who takes action. I am a person who follows through. This is also why confidence is often misunderstood. Many people wait to feel confident before they take action. In reality, confidence grows after action. A person who consistently keeps their morning commitments develops confidence because they have evidence that they can trust themselves. They know that when they decide to do something, they are likely to do it. That kind of confidence is stable because it is built on behavior, not emotion. Think about elite performers in any field. Athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, and leaders often have morning routines, not because routines are magical, but because routines reinforce identity. They create a daily pattern that says, this is who I am. The routine becomes a vote for the future self they are trying to become. Your morning is not just about productivity. It is about self-definition. Before the world has a chance to influence you, you have an opportunity to choose your standards. Each morning asks a simple question. Will you live according to your highest intentions or according to your immediate feelings? The answer, repeated day after day, becomes your identity. And your identity eventually becomes your destiny. Have you ever noticed how one small decision in the morning can completely change the way the rest of the day feels? Some mornings, everything seems to flow naturally. You feel focused, productive, and energized. Tasks get completed. Challenges feel manageable. You move through the day with confidence. On other mornings, things feel chaotic from the very beginning. You wake up late, rush through your routine, forget important things, and spend the rest of the day trying to catch up. This happens because the first moments of your day create momentum, and momentum has a powerful influence on everything that follows. Imagine a train leaving a station. Once it gains speed, it becomes incredibly difficult to stop. Human behavior works in a similar way. The thoughts, emotions, and actions that begin your morning often continue throughout the day. If you start the day feeling distracted, stressed, and reactive, those feelings tend to multiply. If you start the day feeling calm, focused, and intentional, that positive energy usually carries forward into your decisions and actions. Many people underestimate the importance of mental momentum. They think success is determined by major decisions, but in reality, life is often shaped by small choices made consistently. The morning acts as the trigger for those choices. When you begin the day with purpose, you create a chain reaction. Completing one positive action makes the next positive action easier. Getting out of bed on time makes it easier to exercise. Exercising makes it easier to stay focused. Staying focused makes it easier to complete important work. Completing important work builds confidence, and confidence fuels even greater action. This is why successful people are often so protective of their mornings. They understand that the first hour is not just another hour. It is the launch pad for the entire day. They do not leave that time to chance. Instead, they intentionally fill it with activities that strengthen their mindset. Some exercise, some meditate, some read, some write down goals. The specific activity matters less than the principle behind it. They are creating positive momentum before the world begins demanding their attention. The opposite is also true. When the day begins with distraction, negative momentum can quickly take over. Imagine waking up and immediately scrolling through social media. Within minutes, your attention is scattered. You compare yourself to others. You react to news, messages, and notifications. Your mind becomes crowded before you have even focused on your own priorities. The day starts controlling you instead of you controlling the day. Momentum is powerful because it reduces resistance. Once you are moving in the right direction, continuing becomes easier. Think about a bicycle. Starting requires effort, but maintaining speed requires much less energy. The same principle applies to productivity, discipline, and personal growth. The hardest part is often getting started. That is why winning the morning matters so much. It helps you overcome the initial resistance and creates a flow that supports success throughout the day. Every morning presents a choice. You can create momentum that pushes you toward your goals, or you can create momentum that pulls you away from them. The actions may seem small in the moment, but their impact extends far beyond the first hour. A strong morning sets the tone for strong decisions, stronger habits, and ultimately a stronger life. When you learn to build positive momentum at the start of the day, you give yourself an advantage that lasts long after the morning is over. We live in a world where attention has become one of the most valuable resources on earth. Every day, countless companies, platforms, advertisements, and notifications compete for a small piece of your focus. The moment you wake up, the battle begins. Messages appear on your phone. Social media updates demand your attention. Emails wait for responses. News headlines pull you into stories and problems from around the world. Before you even have a chance to think about your own goals, dozens of outside influences are already trying to direct your mind. This is why the morning is so important. It is often the only part of the day when you have complete control over your attention. Before the world becomes loud, you have a brief opportunity to focus on what truly matters. How you use that opportunity can determine whether you spend the day pursuing your own priorities or reacting to everyone else's. Many people begin their mornings by reaching for their phones. It feels harmless. They plan to check one message or spend just a few minutes scrolling, but those few minutes quickly become much more. One notification leads to another. One video turns into 10. One post becomes an endless stream of information. Suddenly, 30 minutes, or even an hour has disappeared. More importantly, their mental focus has been scattered across dozens of different topics before they have even started their day. The danger is not just the loss of time. The real danger is the loss of direction. Every piece of information you consume influences your thoughts. When you begin the day absorbing other people's opinions, problems, achievements, and demands, you start reacting instead of creating. You become a passenger instead of a driver. Instead of deciding what deserves your attention, you allow external forces to make that decision for you. Highly successful people understand this danger. They recognize that focus is a limited resource. Once it is scattered, it becomes difficult to recover. That is why many of them create boundaries around their mornings. They avoid unnecessary distractions. They delay checking social media. They spend time planning, reading, exercising, journaling, or working on meaningful goals before engaging with the outside world. They understand that protecting their attention is not selfish. It is necessary. Think of your attention like a flashlight in a dark room. Wherever you point it becomes visible. Wherever you remove it remains in darkness. Your future is built by what consistently receives that light. If your attention is constantly stolen by distractions, your goals remain neglected. But when you intentionally direct your focus toward growth, learning, health, and meaningful work, those areas begin to improve. The modern world will always provide new distractions. There will always be another notification, another trend, another piece of content competing for your attention. You cannot eliminate all distractions, but you can decide how much access they have to your mind. The morning gives you the power to make that choice before the noise begins. Every successful day starts with intentional focus. When you protect your morning, you protect your priorities. When you protect your priorities, you protect your future. The people who accomplish extraordinary things are not always the smartest or most talented. Often, they are simply the ones who learned how to guard their attention and direct it toward what truly matters. By winning that battle each morning, they gain an advantage that continues throughout the entire day. One of the most powerful truths about discipline is that it never stays confined to one area of life. It spreads. A single disciplined habit can create a ripple effect that influences your mindset, your decisions, and your behavior throughout the entire day. This is why morning discipline is so valuable. It is not just about waking up early or following a routine. It is about training yourself to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Most people assume that successful individuals are naturally motivated all the time. The reality is very different. Even highly successful people experience fatigue, doubt, stress, and moments when they would rather stay comfortable. The difference is that they have trained themselves to act despite those feelings. The morning becomes the perfect training ground for developing that skill because it often requires you to overcome resistance before the day has even begun. Think about what happens when your alarm rings. Your bed feels comfortable, your room is quiet, your mind starts offering excuses. It tells you that you deserve more sleep, that you can start tomorrow, or that one missed day will not matter. In that moment, getting out of bed is not just a physical action. It is a mental victory. You are proving that your goals are more important than temporary comfort. This small act has a deeper impact than most people realize. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your ability to make difficult decisions later in the day. It becomes easier to stay focused on important work. It becomes easier to resist distractions. It becomes easier to keep promises to yourself. The mental muscles you use in the morning are the same mental muscles you use in every other area of life. Imagine someone who consistently follows a morning routine. They wake up on time, exercise, plan their day, and spend time improving themselves. At first, these actions may seem unrelated to their career, relationships, or finances. But over time, the qualities developed through those habits begin to appear everywhere. They become more reliable at work, because they have trained themselves to follow through. They become healthier because they have learned consistency. They become more confident because they repeatedly prove that they can do difficult things. Discipline works much like physical fitness. When you strengthen one muscle group, your overall strength improves. In the same way, when you strengthen your self-discipline in one area, your ability to stay disciplined in other areas grows as well. This is why people who master small daily habits often achieve extraordinary results over time. They are not relying on bursts of motivation. They are building a foundation of consistency. History is filled with examples of successful people who understood this principle. Athletes wake up early to train before competitions. Entrepreneurs dedicate their mornings to planning and focused work. Great leaders use the early hours to think clearly before the demands of the day begin. They know that discipline is not something you turn on only when necessary. It is something you practice daily until it becomes part of who you are. The beauty of morning discipline is that it creates a chain reaction. One discipline choice leads to another. One victory creates confidence for the next challenge. Over time, those victories accumulate and shape your character. Eventually, discipline is no longer something you struggle to find. It becomes a natural part of your identity. And when that happens, every area of your life begins to benefit. The habits you build in the quiet hours of the morning become the strength that carries you through the challenges of the day and helps you create the future you truly want. One of the biggest misconceptions about leadership is that it begins when people start following you. In reality, leadership starts long before that. It begins with the ability to lead yourself. Before you can inspire a team, guide a family, build a business, or influence others, you must first prove that you can manage your own habits, emotions, and decisions. This is why the morning is such a powerful test of character. It is one of the few times each day when no one is watching, no one is judging, and no one is forcing you to do anything. The choices you make during those quiet moments reveal more about your future than most people realize. When your alarm goes off, you face a simple but important decision. You could follow your plan or you could follow your feelings. For many people, feelings win. Comfort becomes more important than commitment. The desire for ease becomes stronger than the desire for growth. But leaders understand something different. They know that feelings change constantly while principles remain steady. If they only acted when they felt motivated, they would accomplish very little. Instead, they train themselves to act according to their goals, even when motivation is absent. This ability to lead yourself creates a major advantage in life. Most people spend their days reacting to circumstances. If something goes wrong, they lose focus. If they feel tired, they stop working. If they face obstacles, they become discouraged. Their actions are controlled by external conditions. Leaders operate differently. They take responsibility for their mindset and behavior, regardless of what is happening around them. They understand that while they cannot control every situation, they can control their response. The morning is where this mindset is developed. Every time you wake up and follow through on your commitments, you are strengthening your ability to lead yourself. You are teaching your mind that excuses do not make decisions. You are proving that your goals matter more than temporary discomfort. These may seem like small victories, but they build the foundation for much larger achievements. Think about the people you admire most, whether they are entrepreneurs, athletes, creators, or visionaries. Their success was rarely built on talent alone. Many talented people never reach their potential because they lack consistency. What separates extraordinary individuals is often their willingness to do what others avoid. They take action when it is inconvenient. They stay committed when progress feels slow. They continue moving forward when nobody is applauding them. The morning represents this principle perfectly. There is no audience. There are no rewards waiting immediately. No one hands you a trophy for getting out of bed on time or completing your morning routine. Yet these unseen actions shape the results that everyone eventually notices. The confidence, discipline, success, and influence that people admire are usually built through countless private decisions that happen long before the public victories. Self-leadership is not about being perfect. It is about taking ownership. It is about refusing to let moods, distractions, or circumstances control your direction. Every morning gives you an opportunity to practice that ownership. Every morning allows you to prove that you are capable of directing your own life rather than drifting wherever circumstances take you. The people who achieve remarkable things are often not those with the best opportunities. They are the ones who consistently lead themselves when it would be easier not to. They understand that before you can lead a company, a movement, a team, or a family, you must first win the battle within yourself. And that battle is often fought and won in the first hour of the morning. One of the most encouraging truths about life is that no matter what happened yesterday, the morning gives you another chance. It does not matter how many mistakes you have made, how many goals you have abandoned, or how many times you have failed. Every sunrise arrives with a simple message: you can begin again. This is what makes the morning so powerful. It represents possibility. It represents renewal. It represents an opportunity to move in a different direction, even if the previous day did not go as planned. Many people become trapped by their past. They spend years thinking about missed opportunities, poor decisions, and failed attempts. They convince themselves that they have fallen too far behind or that success belongs to other people. Over time, disappointment turns into doubt, and doubt turns into an action. They stop trying because they believe nothing will change. But the truth is that transformation rarely happens through one dramatic event. Most lasting change begins with a single decision repeated consistently over time. The morning is where those decisions are made. Every day, you are presented with a fresh opportunity to choose growth instead of stagnation. You can decide to get out of bed when your alarm rings. You can choose to exercise instead of making excuses. You can spend time learning something new instead of wasting hours on distractions. These choices may seem small, but they carry enormous power because they create a new pattern. Consider a person who wants to improve their life. They may dream of becoming healthier, wealthier, more confident, or more successful. The challenge is that those goals often feel overwhelming. Looking at the entire journey can make people feel discouraged before they even start. But when they focus on winning one morning, the challenge becomes manageable. They do not have to transform their entire life today. They only need to make one good decision after another. This is how real change happens. One morning, you wake up a little earlier. The next morning, you spend 10 minutes reading a book that helps you grow. A few days later, you start exercising consistently. Then you begin planning your goals more carefully. None of these actions seem life-changing on their own, yet each one moves you slightly closer to the person you want to become. Over time, those small improvements compound. Nature itself teaches this lesson. A tree does not reach its full height overnight. It grows gradually day by day, season by season. At first, the progress is almost invisible, but years later, the results are undeniable. Human growth works the same way. The habits you build each morning may not produce immediate results, but they are shaping your future in ways you cannot yet see. What makes the morning especially valuable is that it separates the future from the past. The mistakes of yesterday do not have to dictate the choices of today. Every new day creates a gap between who you were and who you can become. In that gap lies opportunity. You can continue repeating old habits, or you can begin creating new ones. The people who eventually achieve remarkable success are not necessarily those who never fail. They are the ones who keep starting again. They understand that progress is not about perfection. It is about persistence. They use each morning as a reset button, a chance to realign with their goals and values. With enough mornings won, confidence grows, habits strengthen, and life begins to change. Your future is not created in one extraordinary moment. It is built through ordinary mornings filled with intentional choices. Every sunrise offers a fresh opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more disciplined than you were the day before. And when you consistently embrace that opportunity, those mornings eventually become the foundation of an entirely new life.